The sound of whirring machines filled the pristine halls of Fostertech Industries, one of America's top aerospace companies. The facility gleamed with perfection, polished floors, glass offices, and a quiet hum of innovation. But deep in the maintenance wing, surrounded by mops, buckets, and old cleaning supplies, worked Ethan Walker, a single dad whose life had been reduced to surviving day by day. Ethan wasn't always a janitor. Years ago, he'd studied mechanical engineering top of his class, until his wife passed away, leaving him with a newborn daughter and a pile of hospital bills. Dreams of building engines gave way to cleaning up after others. Still, every night when the offices emptied, Ethan stayed behind, tinkering with scraps and broken gadgets from the trash. His hands hadn't forgotten what they were made for. One Friday morning, chaos erupted in the research department. A prototype engine worth $2 million, the pride of Fostertech, had suddenly malfunctioned just hours before a presentation to investors. Engineers ran in panic, the air thick with tension. The project leader, CEO Vanessa Cole, a sharp, beautiful woman in her early 30s, stood with arms crossed and eyes blazing. "Get it fixed," she snapped. "We can't afford a single delay." Technicians scrambled around the massive metallic structure. Sparks flew, smoke rose, and no one could figure out what went wrong. Vanessa's heels clicked across the floor as she muttered, "I swear, one more failure and this whole department is done." Down the hall, Ethan pushed his mop bucket, watching the frantic engineers. His daughter Lily was home waiting for him, a birthday cake on the table, candles ready. But his shift wasn't over. Then he heard it, the faint whine of an electric fault, a pitch too high for most ears to notice. His mechanic's instinct kicked in immediately. Something inside that engine wasn't broken. It was misaligned. As one of the technicians cursed under his breath, Ethan hesitated, then quietly stepped closer. "Excuse me," he said softly, "if you realign the fourth ignition node." The engineer glared at him. "Stay out of this, janitor. You'll make it worse." Ethan backed off. Old habit, staying invisible, swallowing pride. But when the CEO's voice cut through the air, cold and angry, something in him refused to stay silent. "Ma'am," he said, stepping forward, "I think I can help." Vanessa turned, clearly annoyed. You clean floors." He met her gaze steadily. "Yes, ma'am. But I also spent 12 years working on propulsion systems before life." Changed. The engineers exchanged smirks. One muttered, "Sure you did." Vanessa sighed. "Fine," she said with a dismissive wave. "If you're so confident, go ahead. You have 5 minutes before I call security." Ethan grabbed a wrench from the nearby toolbox. His hands moved fast, confident, deliberate. He adjusted a valve, realigned a coupling, and tightened a loose connection no one had noticed. A few sparks flew, but then the hum of the machine shifted. The whining sound evened out. The lights flickered, and the engine roared to life. Everyone froze. The once broken prototype now pulsed with smooth, flawless rhythm. Ethan stepped back, wiping grease from his hands. "It was just a synchronization issue," he said quietly. Vanessa stared at him in disbelief. Her jaw tightened, and for a moment she said nothing. Then, as the control panel blinked green, she whispered, "You just saved us millions." Her team stood silent, half shocked, half embarrassed. The janitor had done what the best-paid engineers couldn't. When the investors arrived an hour later, the presentation went perfectly. Vanessa spoke with poise, the machine running flawlessly behind her. But throughout the entire meeting, her eyes kept drifting toward the corner of the lab, where Ethan stood, humble and unnoticed, clutching his old mop handle like a soldier with a rifle. After the event, she found him near the back entrance, ready to clock out. "Walker," she called. He turned, expecting trouble. Instead, she smiled for the first time. "You have a daughter, right?" He nodded. "Yes, ma'am, Lily." "I saw your employee file," she said softly. "You gave up a lot for her," he shrugged. "She's my reason for everything." Vanessa's tone shifted, firm, respectful. "I want you in my engineering division. Effective immediately." Ethan blinked, stunned. "Ma'am, I don't—" "No arguments," she interrupted, handing him a company badge. "You've got more talent in your hands than half the people in that lab. And your daughter should see her father do what he was born to do." That night, Ethan returned home late. Lily sat at the table, her birthday candles long melted. She looked up disappointed until he knelt beside her and smiled. "Hey, sweetheart," he said softly, pulling something from his pocket. His new company badge. "Daddy got a promotion," her eyes lit up. "Really? Like a real engineer again?" He nodded, hugging her tight. "Yeah, baby. A real engineer." Across town, in her high-rise office, Vanessa watched the city lights reflect off the glass. For the first time in years, she felt something like pride. Not for her success, but for seeing what true perseverance looked like. And in a quiet house on the edge of town, a single father finally allowed himself to dream again. Never underestimate the quiet ones. Sometimes, the man sweeping your floor could be the same one who saves your empire.